Welcome back to the Larson Health Podcast. I'm Kim Larson, and I'm a certified functional nutrition coach, founder of LarsonBotanicals.com and LarsonNutrition.com. And this is the show where we dig past the noise and into what actually works for your body, especially if you're in, your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. And if you've started to feel like the rules have changed on you, on your body without anybody sending a memo, like if this is the first time here, the short version of this is I believe knowledge is power and you are not broken. And most of the people who feel stuck are not lacking willpower. They're lacking the right information. So let's get into some of that today. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is sharing the latest research on what will help us stay healthy. So I want to start with a feeling, because I think a lot of you are going to recognize yourself in this. You're tired all the time. The moment your head hits the pillow, your brain switches on like somebody flipped like a breaker. You start thinking about this, you think about that. I got to do this, I got to do that. Right? Your brain just keeps going, and you're doing the things in your brain that you need to get done. You're eating better than you have in years. You're walking. Maybe you're even lifting weights, like we've talked about a couple of months ago, and maybe the scale hasn't even moved yet. That little roll around your middle just will not leave. You snap at people. You love over nothing, right? Your digestion is a mess. You catch every cold that comes through the house, and somewhere along that way, you started wondering if something is actually wrong with you. So here's what I want you to hear right at the top. In a huge number of cases, nothing is wrong with you. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is that it's stuck doing it. It's stuck in a setting it was only ever meant to use for short bursts. And it forgot how to switch back. That setting has a name. It's called survival mode. And today we're going to talk about how you get out of it. We're going to talk about your nervous system. We're going to talk about a hormone called cortisol. And that just has been wildly misunderstood. And we're going to talk about a single nerve that runs from your brainstem all the way down through your chest, down to your gut. And this is probably something you've heard about before, because it's been all over the media for at least a year. And the nerve that might be the most important thing you've maybe never learned about is the vagus nerve. You have a part of your nervous system that runs completely automatically. You don't think about it. You really can't control it directly. And it manages your heartbeat, your breathing, your digestion, your blood pressure, all the housekeeping that keeps you alive while your conscious mind is busy with other things. This is the automatic nervous system. And it has two main branches that work like a seesaw, right? Just back and forth. And so the first branch is the sympathetic branch. Now, this is your gas pedal. I want to go. This is when your brain perceives a threat. And the sympathetic branch fires, and your body floods with stress chemistry. Your heart speeds up. Your breathing gets shallow. And a quick blood rushes to your big muscles. Your pupils dilate. Your digestion shuts down, because who cares about lunch when there's a bear? And your liver dumps sugar into your bloodstream, so you have fast fuel to run or fight. And this is the famous fight or flight response. And it is brilliant. It has kept our species alive for hundreds of thousands of years. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The second branch is this parasympathetic branch. And this is your brake pedal. When the threat passes, this branch is supposed to come, online and bring you back down. Well, your heart rate slows, Your breathing deepens, your blood flows back to your organs, your digestion turns back on, and your body shifts into repair and recovery, and frankly, into healing. You'll hear this called rest and digest, and it's the state your body needs to be in to actually do the things you want it to do. You want to burn fat, you want to build muscle, you want to sleep deeply, you want to fight off infection, you want to balance your hormones, you want to think clearly. Now, here is the entire problem in one sentence. We are not designed to keep the gas pedal pressed down all day, every day for years. But that is exactly what modern life asks of us. The bear used to show up, you ran, you got away, and then it was over and your body rested. Today, the bear is your inbox. It's the news. It's your aging parents. It's your adult kids. It's your mortgage and the little phone in your pocket that buzzes 200 times a day. None of those threats end. There's no chase. There's no escape. There's no moment where your body gets the all clear. So the gas pedal stays pressed. The brake pedal gets weak from never being used. And you end up living in a low grade, never ending version of fight or flight. Your body doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a passive aggressive email. It just knows threat. Stay ready. And the chemical that keeps you ready is cortisol. So let's talk about a little about this, because cortisol has gotten a terrible reputation and it does not fully deserve it. Cortisol is not a villain. I need you to drop that idea right now, because the internet has turned cortisol into a boogeyman. And that's not accurate. Cortisol is essential. You would die without it. It's a hormone made by your adrenal glands and the little glands that sit on top of your kidneys. And it's controlled by a beautiful communication loop between your brain and those glands. Scientists call that loop the HPA axis, which stands for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Don't worry about memorizing that. Just picture like a thermostat. Your brain senses you need cortisol. It sends a signal down to the chain. Your adrenals release cortisol, and then there's enough, right? When there's enough, that's your brain senses that the dials the signal back down again. And a healthy response, that's a healthy response thermostat. So in a healthy body, cortisol follows a daily rhythm. And this rhythm matters enormously. Cortisol should be highest in the morning. In fact, there's a natural surge in the first 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up. And researchers actually have a name for it. The cortisol awakening response, the morning peak, is a good thing. It's what gets you up. It gives you energy. It sharpens your focus. It mobilizes like the fuel so you can meet the day. Then across the day, cortisol is supposed to gently taper down, lower and lower and lower until by nighttime, it's at the lowest point, which is what allows melatonin to rise and you to fall asleep. So high in the morning, low at night, and that's the healthy curve. That's a regulated system. Cortisol does important jobs too, right? It helps manage your blood sugar. It controls inflammation. It helps you respond to stress and then recover from it. When you get startled, cortisol is part of what helps you cope and move on. In short bursts, in the right rhythm, cortisol is one of the great heroes of your physiology. Now, the trouble is never cortisol itself. The trouble is chronic, unrelenting cortisol with no off switch. When you live in survival mode, that thermostat stops working properly. The signal to make cortisol just keeps coming And over time, the whole system gets dysregulated. And here's a detail researchers have found that explains why this gets worse the longer it goes on. When cortisol stays high for too long, your cells start to get resistant to it. Similar to like diabetes and sugar and insulin, right? It just, your body gets, you keep feeding your body all this sugar and highly processed foods. And eventually you get diabetes. So the receptors that are supposed to hear the cortisol signal get worn out and stop listening. Sort of the way your nose stops smelling a candle after you've been in the room for a while, right? So your body sensing the message isn't getting through. That makes even more cortisol to be heard. So more cortisol, more resistance, more inflammation. It becomes a self-feeding loop. And eventually that beautiful daily rhythm flips upside down. People in this state often have cortisol that's too low in the morning. So they're dragging and they're foggy and they need 3 cups of coffee just to function. And too high at night, which is exactly why they're exhausted all day and then wide awake at 11 p.m. Wired and tired. If that phrase just described your entire life, there's a real physiological reason for it. Now let's connect this to the things you actually care about, because this is where it gets personal for so many of you. Let's talk about that belly fat, that waist budge, right? That won't move. This is not vanity, and it's not a character flaw. And I'm so tired of women your age being told to just eat less and try harder, right? I mean, we keep hearing this, and that is baloney. So here's the truth about the research that the research supports. Chronically elevated cortisol drives your body to store fat, specifically in your midsection, around your organs. We call that visceral fat, and it's the more dangerous kind. Why the belly? Because fat cells in your abdomen carry a much higher density of cortisol receptors than the fat cells in your arms or your legs. So go ahead and have those thunder thighs, but don't have it in your midsection. So when cortisol is high all the time, your belly is the first place that hears it and the first place that stores it. It gets deeper than that. Cortisol raises your blood sugar. That's part of its job, getting fuel ready for the emergency. But when there's no emergency, that extra sugar has nowhere to go. So your body pumps out insulin to deal with it. Do that day after day, year after year, and your cells start to become resistant to insulin too. Insulin resistance is the front porch of type 2 diabetes, which longtime listeners will remember we did a whole episode on. And your high insulin tells your body to store fat and makes it very hard to burn it. So you've got cortisol and insulin teaming up against your waistline. On top of that, cortisol stimulates your appetite, and not for broccoli. It drives cravings for sugar and fat and salt, the high calorie, quick energy your body thinks it needs for the crisis. I can tell you, when I go to the grocery store, I see these people that are morbidly obese, and all they have in their grocery carts are junk food. That's why so many people are dying from all this highly processed foods. You got to stop eating the pizza, the highly processed foods. If you can get a sprinkling of cheese, make your own pizza. Get a gluten-free cauliflower crust, or just a gluten-free crust. Gordon Food Service makes them. And do a sprinkling of cheese, not too much cheese, because you want to have low fat. Put a bunch of vegetables on there, put on some chicken, put on some hot sauce on there, maybe you like a buffalo sauce, That's a really delicious pizza. So if you want to have a pizza, make it yourself. Don't buy the store-bought, pop it in your oven, highly processed. The stuff that you get even from a restaurant, too high in fat. The wheat is not a good wheat. It causes cancer because of the stuff that's sprayed on it. It causes inflammation in your body. And so as if that weren't enough, cortisol is catabolic. So which means in excess, it actually breaks down the hard-earned muscle tissue. That muscle tissue is so important as we age. Less muscle means a slower metabolism, which means fat loss gets even harder. Are you starting to see why willpower and a salad were never going to win this fight? You were trying to out-discipline your own survival physiology. I have to say something specifically to my perimenopause and menopausal listeners, because this is so often the missing piece for you. You have a hormone called progesterone, and one of progesterone's lovely jobs is that it has a calming, soothing effect on your nervous system and on that whole stress axis. It's like a natural buffer against cortisol. As you move through perimenopause, progesterone is one of the first hormones to start declining, and it can drop quite a bit. So at the exact moment in life when many of you are carrying the most stress you've ever carried, your built-in calming buffer is fading out. That's why so many women tell me that their anxiety showed up out of nowhere in their late 40s, and their sleep fell apart, and the weight landed in their middle seemingly overnight. It's not in your head. The hormonal terrain genuinely shifted underneath you. And it means that for you, learning to regulate your nervous system isn't a nice to have. It is central. So that's the gas pedal. And that's the stress chemistry that comes with keeping it floored. Now I want to introduce you to your brake pedal. The single most powerful tool you have for getting out of survival mode. And it's part of your own body that most people have never heard a word about. It's called the vagus nerve. The word vagus comes from the Latin of wanderer, and it earned the name because it wanders. It's the longest cranial nerve in your body. It starts in your brainstem, way in the back up here, and it travels down through your neck. It branches out to your throat, your voice box. It runs to your heart and your lungs, and it continues down into your stomach and your intestines and your other organs. It touches nearly everything. The vagus nerve is the main highway of your parasympathetic nervous system. It is quite literally the primary cable that carries the calm down and rest and repair signal from your brain to your body. And when your vagus nerve is doing its job well, it slows your heart after a scare. It deepens your breathing. It switches your digestion back on, and it actively damps down inflammation throughout your body. Think about meditation. Think about deep breathing. It can instantly relax you. The vagus nerve is the main mechanism by which your body recovers from stress and returns to balance. And here's a fact that genuinely changed how I think about all of this. When we tend to assume the brain is in charge, barking orders down to the body, but about 80% of the fibers in your vagus nerve don't carry signals from the brain down to the body. They carry signals from the body up to the brain. 80%. Your gut, your heart, your lungs are constantly reporting upward, telling your brain how things are going down in the trenches. This is the heart of what scientists call the gut-brain axis. And it's a big part of why your gut health and your mood and your stress are so tangled together, something I know many of you have experienced firsthand. It also means your body is talking to your brain far more than your brain is talking to your body. And that is, as you'll see it in a minute, is the key that unlocks everything. So here's even a specific pathway through the vagus nerve that researchers have mapped, sometimes called the cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway. And the name doesn't matter, but what it does absolutely does matter. So through this pathway, good vagus nerve activity actually puts the brakes on inflammation in your body. And taking omega-3s and turmeric with curcumin and taking with ginger and black pepper. So it causes a beautiful symbiotic combination of anti-inflammatory. And those omega-3 fish oils, you got to get a good quality one. If it's making you burp, it is rancid. Get rid of it and get a good, healthy omega-3. Check out larsonnutrition.com. And since we've already talked about how chronic stress drives inflammation, you can see how this all connects. A strong, well-toned vagus nerve isn't just about feeling calmer. It's anti-inflammatory. It's protective for your heart, your gut, your brain, and your long-term health. And it also helps your skin. I mean, my skin, look at how it's shiny, right? I'm 58 years old and my skin looks amazing. I drink water, I drink electrolytes, I take my supplements, I eat healthy foods, organic foods. I'm taking care of my body and my skin at larsonbotanicals.com. You can see all the skincare that I have. So how do you know if your vagus nerve, your brake pedal is strong? There's a measurable signal, and a lot of you are already wearing the device that tracks it. It's called heart rate variability, or HRV. Now, this is a little counterintuitive, so just stay with me. A healthy heart does not beat like a metronome, tick, 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 perfectly even. A healthy heart actually varies the tiny gaps between the beats, moment to moment, speeding up a hair when you breathe in, slowing down a hair when you breathe out. That natural variation is a sign that your nervous system is flexible and responsive, that your brake pedal is working. A higher heart rate variability generally reflects good vagal tone, a resilient system that can shift between gas and brake with ease. Low heart rate variability, a heart beating too evenly, often reflects a system that's stuck in sympathetic overdrive, stuck with the gas pressed down. So if you got a ring or a watch that shows your HRV number, now you know what it's actually pointing at. It's giving you a window into the health of your brake pedal. Before we get into exactly how to strengthen that brake pedal, I want to take a quick moment because part of regulating your nervous system is giving it the raw materials and the support it needs to do its job. And this is something I care a lot about for the people I work with. When your body has been running in stress mode for a long time, certain nutrients get burned through faster than usual. And some of the most calming compounds in nature can give your system a gentle hand while you're doing the deeper work. And that's exactly why I love what we're putting together over at Larson Botanicals. At larsonbotanicals.com, we formulated our calm and stress support line around the very things we've been talking about today. Traditional, skincare line, and then also a higher advanced bioactive skincare line. And these have been used for centuries to help the body cope with stress alongside with botanicals and minerals like magnesium that play a real role in your nervous system function and relaxation. So these aren't magic pills. And I'll never tell you that they are, because you've heard me say 100 times that there are no shortcuts. Like, people want to go on GLP-1s and they just want to lose the weight fast. But the problem is that when people go on GLP-1s, they never learn how to eat correctly. They don't learn that they need to eat a lot of protein. They need to eat a lot of fiber. They need to get a lot of vegetables and fruit, real fruit, not fruit juice. They need to get the real fruit, which has lots of fiber in it. The broccoli, the spinach, sauteed spinach, the green beans, the pea pods, the um, cauliflower, the carrots, the tomatoes, all of these different, change it up, the eggplant, change up your vegetables. It's really, really important that you try to get 30 different vegetables or fruits in a day. Get your berries, get your raspberries, your blueberries, your strawberries, your blackberries, your boysenberries, your pomegranate. But when they're sitting on top of a foundation of good habits, the right botanical support can help take some of the load off an overworked system and make it just a little easier for your body to find its way back to that calm, that parasympathetic state. So if you've been feeling wired and tired and you want something gentle and natural in your corner, go visit us at larsonbotanicals.com and take a look at what we've made for exactly this moment in your life. All right, let's get back to it. Now, the most important thing I'm going to say is this in this entire episode is coming up. So turn it up. You cannot think your way out of survival mode. You cannot logic yourself to calm. You're tired. You've told yourself 1,000 times, just relax. Just stop worrying. This is not a big deal. And it has never once worked, has it? And you may have quietly concluded that you're just weak or undisciplined. You are not. The reason is it doesn't work is that the thinking, reasoning part of your brain is not the part that runs your nervous system. What your survival system is activated, or when it's activated, the older, deeper, more primitive parts of your brain are calling the shots. And they do not speak the language of logic. They don't care about your to-do list or your good intentions. But remember what you just learned. 80% of the vagus nerve runs from the body up to the brain. You send your brain physical signals of safety, and your brain reads those signals and concludes, oh, we must be safe. And it stands down. This is the whole game. You stop trying to convince your brain and you start sending your body cues of safety that the vagus nerve carries upstairs. And the beautiful thing is, the science here is not exotic and it does not cost a fortune. Let me give you the tools, excuse me. The first and most powerful tool is your breath. And specifically how you exhale. Most of us, when we're stressed, breathe shallow and fast up your chest. 12, 15, 20 breaths a minute. That fast breathing is itself a fight or flight signal. And here's the lever. When you breathe in, you very slightly speed your heart up. And when you breathe out, you slow it down and you stimulate the vagus nerve. So the secret is to make your exhale longer than your inhale. So that long exhale is a direct physical message to your nervous system that the threat has passed. The research here is remarkably consistent. Slowing your breathing down to around 6 breaths a minute, which is, much slower than a normal breath, has been shown to increase heart rate variability and boost that calming vagal activity. So sometimes at roughly that, that pace of your breathing, your heart rhythm, and your blood pressure system all start to sync up in a way that it's almost like pushing your body on a swing, or just at just the right moment, right? A simple way to find that pace is to breathe in gently for a count of 4 and breathe out slowly for a count of about 6. Let's do it together. I can't breathe into 4. Count out to 6. That's it. 5 minutes of slow breathing with long exhales, and you're actively shifted your physiology. There's also a quick version you can use in a moment of acute stress, sometimes called a physiological sigh. 2 inhales through the nose, a normal one, followed by a quick second sip of air to fully inflate your lungs. And then 1 long, complete exhale out through the mouth. Do that 2 or 3 times, and you can feel the edge come off almost immediately. We do this in yoga. And let it out. Let that sound out. However you do it, just let it out. If you feel silly, do it alone. Do it in front of your family. Let your whole family do it together. Let the stress out. The second tool uses your voice. And this one delights me because it's so simple. Remember that vagus nerve passes right through your throat and connects to your voice box? So things that vibrate that area gently stimulate the nerve. Humming, singing, chanting, gargling, even just a long, low or a contented sigh. This is part of why singing in the car or humming while you cook genuinely makes you feel better. It's not just the mood of music, it's the physical vibration, toning your vagus nerve. So hum to yourself. Sing badly and with your whole chest. It's medicine. Right? The third tool is cold. Use wisely. Splash of cold water on your face, particularly around your eyes and cheeks. Triggers a reflex that immediately shows your heart rate and activates the parasympathetic system. It's one of the fastest resets there is. You don't need an ice bath or anything dramatic or anything that would be unsafe. And please, if you have any heart condition, check with your doctor first. But ending your shower with 30 seconds of cooler water, or just dunking your face in a bowl of cold water or ice water when you feel overwhelmed, sends a powerful safety reset signal through that vagus nerve. Now, the fourth tool is movement, but gentle rhythmic movement, not punishing yourself. A walk, especially outside in nature, where the rhythm of your steps and the natural environment both calm the system. Gentle stretching, swaying, rhythmic, repetitive motion tells your nervous system that you are not currently running for your life, which paradoxically helps it stop acting like you are. Now, the fifth tool is light rhythm. And this is about repairing that cortisol curve we talked about. Get bright light, ideally sunlight, into your eyes within the first half hour of waking. Go outside. Don't look right into the sun, but go for a quick walk outside. Spend 30 minutes doing some deep breathing outside. Get your feet on the ground. That is so centering for your body. Your body needs this. You need early morning light before 9 a.m. You need at least 30 minutes of that sunlight. We had rain this morning, but then I went out and I walked the dogs and I got sunlight, and thank God it's sunny now. This morning light anchors your body's internal clock, and it supports a healthy morning cortisol peak, which then helps it taper properly at night. In the evening, do the opposite. Dim the lights, get off the bright screens, get off your phone at least an hour before bed, read a book. Let your body know that night is coming. I start washing up for bed around 8:30. I will turn off my phone. I'm not answering anything. I put it away. I put it on its charger and put it in another room. And I'll read a book. I'll read some research. That I printed off on paper. It's really good to do that. So when night is coming, cortisol can fall and melatonin can rise. You're essentially reminding your thermostat what time it is. And the sixth tool might be the most powerful of all. And it's one of our modern lives have stripped away the most: connection. Safe, warm human connection is one of the strongest signals of safety your nervous system can possibly receive. A real conversation, a long hug, time with someone who makes you feel at ease, even petting your dog or cat. When you co-regulate with another safe being, your nervous systems literally settle each other down. We were never meant to do any of this alone, and loneliness itself registers in the body as a kind of threat. So reaching out to someone is not separate from your health work. It is health work. I want to weave in one more piece here, because we've been talking about sending your body signals of safety. And one of the most fundamental signals of safety is simply being well fed and well nourished at a cellular level. Your nervous system and your stress system run on raw materials. And when you're undernourished, or when your blood sugar is on a roller coaster all day, your body reads that instability and yet another threat and pumps out more cortisol to compensate. Every blood sugar crash is a little internal alarm bell. So one of the kindest, most calming things you can do for your nervous system is to eat in a way that keeps your blood sugar steady, anchored by real protein and fiber and healthy fat, especially first thing in the morning, instead of starting your day on coffee and a muffin and a cortisol spike. This is so much of what we focus on over at LarsonNutrition.com. Everything we offer is built around this exact idea: giving your body the steady, high quality fuel it needs. It isn't constantly stuck in alarm mode. Our protein and our foundational nutrition products are designed to make it genuinely easy to start your day with stable blood sugar and to fill the nutritional gaps that have you stressed out, depleted body so often has, including the kinds of minerals that quietly calm a body's nervous system. So check out LarsonNutrition.com for great recipes. I take LMNT for my electrolytes, or Beam. I created all these recipes, and I watched too many of my clients try to white knuckle their way to health on willpower alone. And when what their bodies were actually crying out for was real nourishment and a steady foundation. So if you want to make this whole nervous system calming approach dramatically easier, start with the fuel. Head over to LarsonNutrition.com and let us help you build that steady, because everything we just talked about today works so much better when your body is running on empty. Okay, now let me bring this all home for you. Here's what I don't want you to do with this episode. I don't want you to walk away and add nervous system regulation to the list of 17 other things you're supposedly failing at. That's a real backlash building right now against the whole wellness optimization culture. This idea that you have to track every metric and perfect every protocol. And honestly, a lot of people are burning out on wellness itself. So please don't turn this into one more source of pressure. That would defeat the entire purpose, because the pressure is the problem. The goal here is not perfection. The goal is to is a gentle, a gentle widen that people sometimes can call their window of tolerance, the range of life you can handle while still staying calm and present instead of getting flung into either the wired panic or the shutdown exhaustion. Now, the way you widen that window in small and consistent, not big dramatic, pick one tool, just one. Maybe it's 5 minutes of slow breathing before you get out of bed, or sunlight on your face with your morning coffee, or ending your shower a little cooler, or humming while you make dinner. Right? Do that one thing daily for a couple of weeks. What you're doing is giving your body little repeated experiences of dropping into the parasympathetic state. And every time you do, you're strengthening that brake, you're toning that vagus nerve, you're teaching your system, and it's allowed to come down. It's so important that it comes down. Over time, the brake gets stronger and easier to find. Your baseline shifts and you stop living quite so close to the edge of survival mode. So if you track your HRV, you may even watch that number slowly climb as the weeks go. And this is a good thing. Remember, your HRV is important to climb, your heart rate variability. And as your nervous system settles, watch what happens to everything else we've connected today. As cortisol comes back into its proper rhythm, that stubborn belly fat finally has a reason to release. Your cravings calm down. Your sleep deepens, which itself lowers cortisol further. A healthy loop instead of, a vicious one. Your digestive improves as the vagus nerve switches it back on. You want to go back on vagus nerve? So your inflammation eases. Your moods steady out. This is not about calming or chasing some perfect optimized residence. It's about like coming home to a body that finally feels safe enough to heal. I do want to say gently and clearly that everything we've talked about today is meant to educate and empower you. And it is not a substitute for personalized medical care. If you're dealing with a chronic condition, if you're on medication, if your symptoms are significant, please bring this conversation to a doctor or a practitioner who knows your whole story and can look at the full picture with you. This work fits beautifully all alongside good medical care. It doesn't replace it. So here's what I'll leave you with. You are not broken. You have not failed. You have very likely been living in survival mode for a long time, doing all the right things while your physiology quietly worked against you. And nobody ever explained why. Now you know. You understand the gas pedal and the brake pedal. You understand cortisol and its rhythm. And you understand that you have a wandering nerve running through your whole body that holds the keys to calm, a nerve that you can possibly strengthen with your breath, your voice, the cold, your movement in the morning light. It's not a hack and it's not a trend. That's just how you're built, finally working in your favor. So thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode helps something click into place for you, the kindest thing you can do is share it with any one person in your life who's been feeling wired and tired and stuck, because somebody out there needs to hear that nothing is wrong with them. Take a look at what we've made for you over at larsonbotanicals.com, larsonnutrition.com if you want some support on this road. And as always, you can find everything else at larsonnutrition.com or larsonbotanicals.com. And until next time, be gentle with your nervous system this week. Take the home, exhale. Your body has been waiting a very long time for you to tell it that it's safe. And I'll see you next week.